The Marriage Comeback, Episode 3. And my name is Oh.Henry.
And I'm Oh.Henry.
And you may know us from our other platforms of the Oh.Henrys.
Yes.
Like I mentioned, this is our third. We're already on our third episode.
Did you mention that before?
I did mention it, but I can't believe it's our third.
I know.
So for you that are new today, let's do go back and watch 1 and 2 or listen to 1 and 2 because there is a lot of information regarding this entire podcast about the marriage comeback. Episode 1, we got into what we've dealt with, and episode 2 is getting into what we've kind of done to start the healing process and how the comeback of the marriage has happened. And today we're even going to get and dive a little deeper into how to create a marriage comeback and healing and
tools that you can use in your own marriage.
That's right. And today we're going to talk quite a bit on transparency. And that word, as I just came to find out, is a very difficult word for Kelly to spell.
For reals. Good thing there's autocorrect, because every time I was typing it, I had a hard time spelling it.
Yeah. No, but this is a very great topic for really, I think, any marriage.
Absolutely. Any marriage, any relationship. Yes, in our relationship, we have dealt with infidelity, but this is important if you're dealing with any struggle.
Well, any struggle, but even if you have a good marriage, to maintain your marriage and maintain your happiness,
for sure,
I believe transparency is key. And I did not know that or believe that or understand that previous to kind of what we dealt with. So I'll get into and Kelly will get into why it was important for her and why it was needed for me and why it's important for me.
Okay, well, let's talk about what transparency even means. I feel like we're so used to it and we understand the definition, but we shouldn't be hiding anything from our spouses. And some people think that that is not a good thing. Like, oh, if they don't trust you, they have these issues and they have, problems because they're so insecure or whatever. It's just a respect thing. In your marriage, you shouldn't be hiding anything, and you should be able to tell your spouse anything. They should be able to look at your phone at any time, know your passwords. There shouldn't be any of that hiding. And transparency means you're open with your partner, you're honest, you're vulnerable. You can have those difficult conversations. Being transparent is being able to express your feelings and your emotions in a safe place without, being defensive or turning the table on, well, you shouldn't be looking at my phone or whatever.
It's just an understanding.
Yes, it's across the board. We're a partnership. We're in this marriage together. It's all laid out on the table for everybody. And it builds trust. And, for us, where trust was broken, really being transparent was our first step in the building block.
And for me, at the very, very beginning, transparency was hard because I had just been going through such a process of lies and pain and hiding. So transparency was hard. And when this came out and we were discussing everything, I was keeping things away from Kelly because I didn't want to continue hurting her.
Yeah.
But all that did
was hurt me more.
Was hurt her more.
Because, man, I'm smart. I'm like a detective, and I'm going to find things out. And so I probe. And it's hard for me to, process something. I need to work through everything. And that's why transparency, I feel like, is so good, is because we had to like talk about something, and if I didn't understand it or I couldn't get through it, we had to continually talk about it. And sometimes I'm sure you got like, oh, we have to talk about this again. This sucks. But
Yep.
I literally was like, I need to know this and why this. And we had to talk about it as much as I needed until I could understand it. And I felt that I could process it to move forward to the next thing. But that's what was hard, is because, I found out and we decided to like work on things. And then I would just find out, not like that there was more going on, but just the details. I wanted to know everything. And maybe in some instances, there are couples who are like, obviously, you did this thing. I don't want to know the details. I was not that person. I needed to know everything. And so if there was something else I found out about later, 2 days later, it was just opening up a wound for me that was like, that I had tried to be like, I would feel like we were making some progress. And then all of a sudden, it would just be like a stab through the heart and just take me right back. So,
So that initial transparency was a very difficult,
yeah, and we got to that when our therapist actually recommended that as a full disclosure, is what they called it. You guys need to have a full
or
disclosure.
you're not going to move forward.
You can't. Yes, exactly. And so if your marriage is, maybe there's pornography addiction, maybe there's substance abuse addiction, maybe you're struggling with finances and not being
Honest.
open and honest with each other about it. We suggest, if you want to start to work on your marriage and it's struggling, you really need to have a full disclosure. And
That's literally what initiated our growth.
it is. We
I
couldn't
mean,
start.
we went through all the hell, with initially, but there is no way the growth was ever going to happen.
Mhm.
The healing was going to happen until that full disclosure, transparency.
Yes,
I feel.
I agree too. And like we said in the previous episode, we were working on ourselves at first. So this came when we started to couples therapy together, and the therapist was, I think he could see right away that there wasn't full disclosure and there wasn't full transparency. I remember, do you remember the
Mm.
first time we went to the therapist
Um,
and how mad I was at you? And like, it
it's
was,
a kind of blur.
oh, you kind of like blocked that out. That was smart. I remember.
Yeah.
I was like, this guy probably thinks we are doomed. And I felt like we were, but
Me too.
he helped us. So, and the full disclosure, it wasn't like, okay, we need to do the full disclosure right now. He kind of guided us and gave us the choice, like, do you want to do it on your own? Schedule a time to do this with each other and have everything written out. If you have one partner has questions, if one partner needs to, like, you need to go into this mentally prepared to be vulnerable, to be 100% honest, and knowing that it's going to be hard. It's not fun. It's not fun. But once it's all on the table, then you can start to pack up and move forward and get the tools to work towards your goal.
I want to explain the full transparency disclosure. For me, it was like torture going through, but it was absolutely breathtaking, whatever you want to call it, weight lifted off of my shoulder, um, when it was done, because now that everything's out on the table, and I was able to now know I can heal, I can work on myself. Kelly can check in on me. She can look at my phone. She can look at like everything. It was out on the plate. It was done, and I was ready to heal. I was ready to work on myself. I was ready to work on my family. I was ready to work on my relationship. I had no worries. I had no secrets. I had no scares. I had no anything.
Which is
So,
the opposite of what you were doing before. You always had that dark cloud when you were hiding, right?
mhm.
And that guilt and that shame. And so that disclosure really was for you just getting that weight lifted off and being like, I am starting. Everything's out. Like, we're starting at 0. Let's go from here.
Well, yeah, and I knew for you to heal, you needed to, and for you to build trust, you needed to watch. I mean, my every move per se, if you wanted to say that. And we can get into even, down the road when you were like when you found out in therapy that you didn't have to watch every move. But I think at that time immediate after the full disclosure, that was a healing for you.
It
And
was.
I was 100% down with it. I was like, sleep with my phone. I don't care. Take my phone, scroll through my phone, look through my phone, watch me.
Well, for me, the partner side, it was like, okay, now I know everything. There's going to be no more surprises because you're always like, for the first little bit when it wasn't the full disclosure, I was like, what's next? Like bracing myself to hear something else and to just, you know what I mean? Like I kind of had my walls up, which not saying my walls went down, but I was prepared always for, okay, what's next? So it was relief to me as well, even though I didn't want to hear it, but I needed to, where I could be like, okay, it's all laid out. And now I can move forward knowing that there's going to be no more surprises
If you're
popping up.
if you're listening and in our situation or a situation where you need to disclose or whatever, I'm telling you right now, and Kelly can agree or disagree, it is uncomfortable. It is scary. It's heartbreaking. Um, but if you're wanting to heal and move your relationship forward, it has to be done.
Yeah, agreed. And that's what our therapist said to us frankly at the beginning, like we're not going to get anywhere. And he did say, we can do this in therapy with a therapist there if you need that. If
Hmm.
your relationship, we actually didn't have to do that. We did it at home.
A,
Um
a part of it we had somebody with us.
yes. But one of our church leaders. But it is important to know when you're going in there, don't freak out. Don't I mean, don't stand up and scream and walk away. Like you have to be able to sit down and be mature. I'm not saying that there's not going to be tears and there's not going to be questions and it's not going to be hard
Yeah.
and you can't have feelings when you find things out. But to work through these, you have to be comfortable with having the uncomfortable conversations. And I feel like for us, throughout our marriage since then, since we've healed, where we've had to have uncomfortable conversations about other things, it's
They're not as
no,
uncomfortable.
because like it's not such a big deal. We can easily voice our feelings without somebody getting defensive, flipping the script, being reactive. It is a great starting point to learn how to communicate respectfully with each other and trusting and validating, because in a relationship, you want to be able to go to your partner and express your feelings in a safe place, right? And so, and one thing too with our transparency and our disclosure is once we worked through this disclosure, and like I said, it took time, even after the first disclosure, like that we did. If I had a week later, like something was, I couldn't quite wrap my head around something, we would go through and like really talk about that
Yeah.
so I could process that and move forward. And really working through all those feelings and being able to have that safe place to talk to your partner is huge in building trust and respect, which is respect is a big thing, I think,
Well,
when you're working on your marriage.
Well, even now, it's, I mean, every discussion we have now even is very open to transparency. And I mean, if I'm going golfing after work, I want to make sure you know what's going on and what's happening, or if I'm going to be late here, or
Yeah, I remember in our group therapy, they were like, if you're going to be late home from, if you say you're going to be home at this time and you're not,
ease the other's mind.
be respectful enough to them to let them know, like, hey, my meeting ran late. It's respecting your partner always, being that you're putting them at ease, like you said, respecting them and making them feel like you are aware of their feelings and you value their feelings and you see them.
Yeah, exactly. And like I said, even after we've gone through our therapy and where we are in our marriage and relationship now, I mean, transparency is still key. I mean, there's it's funny. Kelly has some good examples of, um, starting to build trust with me, and diving into my phone almost hurts her more. Whatever. Anyways, but there will be times where I'll be driving home from work, or I'll go somewhere and she'll text me and say, "Hey, get me a burger," or
I'll
just
be like, how is hole number 3 going for you? You hitting that back 9, bro? Because I see you're at a golf course here.
Yeah. So I mean, it's still there, right? I know, like, she has access to me anytime she wants. It's just few and far in between now, but it doesn't bother me at all. It doesn't. I'm not. It's because I'm living my life that I want to live now, and I am the husband that I've wanted to be, and I'm the father that I've wanted to be. So I'm not hiding anything.
And your spouse should be first, right? Like, your spouse should be, unfortunately, in marriages, and we are guilty of this as well. Like, if you're stressed out, who do I take it out on? I take it out on my husband and my kids.
Yep.
And that's not fair, right? But by doing these little things of transparency consistently, it's not just like a one-time, hey, look through my phone. It's a consistent, open-ended at any moment and any time. And there's different things. So find my iPhone is what we do. Find my phone, where
We both have it.
yeah, we can track and see where each other's at.
Now, I mean, it may sound like, oh my gosh, they're tracking each other. It's actually to the point. Early on, I think it was
For
more
sure,
a trusting
necessity, yeah.
for a necessity and a trusting for Kelly. Now it's oh man, where is he? He's driving on the freeway, but where is he? I want to see him. Or
What time has he left yet? I mean, I do that a lot. If, we're meeting at one of our kids' games or something, and I'm getting there before he is, I'm like, I wonder where he's at, instead of me having to call you to be like,
we just had this, 3 days ago at lunch.
yeah, you're taking.
So I said, hon,
Ever.
we're gonna go. I want to go to lunch. Let's meet at this restaurant. She gets to the restaurant before me, and she's like, "Hey, bro, I'm here." I was like, "Okay, I'm leaving." And then she like texts me again, "Hey, I'm going to the restaurant. I'll go inside." I was like, "Okay, I'm in my car. I'm driving."
And I go, I can see that
She
you're
goes, "I
not
can
moving.
see that you haven't moved." And even though that it was a delay, I took a picture of me driving the road in front of me. I was like, and then what did I write back? I was like,
Really?
really? Like,
But
it's
that was
there
a funny
for.
example, but at the beginning it was real, because there were certain locations that were a trigger for me. And I feel like if like I said, with infidelity, that's a different thing, but maybe, somebody has alcohol addiction, right? You want to make sure that they're not going.
To a bar or
Yeah.
a
So
restaurant. Yeah.
there are definitely examples and different things, and this is important in any marriage struggles, and any marriage is to be transparent and consistent and open and honest.
Yep.
So what's another example?
No passwords on your phone
Or share passwords.
or shared passwords.
If you have kids and you know them on your phone, we know each other's passwords.
Yeah.
Our password is actually the same. That's kind of cute.
Everywhere.
You copied me.
Yeah, it's the same password across everything.
One thing I appreciated, like I said, there were certain locations that were a trigger for me. So if he knew for work he was going around in that area, he would call me before and say, "Hey, I have a work meeting here. I just wanted you to know that that's where I'm going." And then
Oh, yeah.
I would be like, "Okay, thank you so much." And then he would do like take a selfie with a work person at the location so I could see where he was at and with somebody, or FaceTime me when he got there. Just
And, those were decisions that I had made. Those weren't demands that Kelly were making,
no.
but it was like kinda what Kelly was saying before. I was trying to respect her mind and her peace of mind that, "Look, I still I still have to do work. I still have to go in these areas, but just to ease your mind, hey, here's a quick pic of who I'm with, or here,
Yeah,
whatever." So that was just me easing Kelly's mind.
for sure. For sure.
Um, no deleting texts. I mean, we have this conversation with our kids, right? We have this conversation with our kids. No deleting texts. We want to go through and do that. So no deleting text, photos, anything like that.
I actually had our iPad set up to your phone
Mhm.
so that I could look at any moment that I needed to. But however you guys want to like do it as a couple, figuring that out. But those are just things that we used that really helped us.
Look, that sounds. If you haven't gone through anything and
If your marriage
if
is
your
great,
marriage
this
is
might
great,
sound like
yeah, this may sound like, oh my gosh, she's controlling him, or he can't do this, or he, wow, this is just over the top, overkill, like just leave him type deal. You know what? Kelly was everything to me, um and I wanted to prove to her. And we have, which we mentioned in episode 1 and 2, that we had built a family together. I ruined that with some poor decisions, but I was going to do everything in my power, everything that I could, to prove to Kelly and my family that I absolutely wanted them and loved them. And these things that we're talking about was our way, that my way to prove and to
and to build
be
on.
and to build on and to help Kelly heal through the pain. I was going to do everything and anything. So
And that's what Dan did so well is he always took accountability and was respectful to me throughout with any stupid little demands I might have had, even though they weren't little at the moment, they were big leaps in just showing me when he did those consistently, man, that spoke volumes to me.
yeah.
And that really helped our relationship. So, like we said, transparency is a continuous thing that you're doing. And our therapist required us to do nightly couple check ins. Now, a nightly couple check in sounded awful to me.
Awful.
I
There,
did.
there were. I'm not gonna lie. There were nights where I was like, the last freaking thing I want to do is a nightly check-in, just because of how crappy work was. Just
You're emotionally exhausted.
I knew the questions that were coming. I knew they were exhausting, but that was the least, the least part of it. But it's exhausting.
Yeah.
It was hard.
It was hard. And doing it, I mean, I didn't want to do them because there were some nights where I was like, I just don't even want to talk to you.
Yeah. No,
Like, I
it's
literally
true.
just want to go to bed. I don't even want to give you my energy or time, which that sounds so awful. But when
But
you're
the more we did
in
it,
it,
and the longer we did it, the
yes,
better it was, the better we understood each other.
yes. So we actually created a digital download for free on our website at the Oh.Henrys.com, and you can just download this for free and it can go to your phone, and you and your partner can do this at night. We worked on this when we were really struggling with our marriage. This was an every night thing. And then we're going to have a different check in that's like a weekly couple check in for kind of when you've moved past this first step of needing it every night. This is like if you're really struggling. It just helps guide you guys to open up and talk about the different areas and different emotions each of you might have each day and kind of build that.
And you may spend more time on one section than the other based on needs.
And some nights, yeah, it might be quick, and some might, like at the beginning.
They were quick. They were quick.
So there's 5 things that we have on here: physically, emotionally, spiritually, sexually, and then gratitude is the last one. So I remember at the beginning, it'd be like, how are you feeling physically? Well, not great at all. How are you feeling emotionally? Awful. Like,
Didn't get out of bed.
you know what I mean? That's how I was at the beginning. So, but then you can work through it. So physically, let's just do an example, Dan. Okay. It's you're reading and you're doing that one.
How are you feeling today physically?
You're asking yourself this question.
Oh, I thought I was asking you.
No. You can do the first one.
How are you feeling? How are you feeling today physically? And you can have examples of, today I actually woke up and went to the gym. I feel pretty good physically. The other one, I snoozed a few times. I feel groggy. Today was not a good day physically, or my lower back hurts, whatever.
Yeah. And that just opens up to tell your partner, like,
That's what I'm
your
dealing with.
body is like, I had a headache. I had this, you know. Emotionally, how was your mental health today? How are you feeling? I was feeling anxious today. I got triggered. I was super anxious after that, and I've been trying to work through that. Or I'm having a better day. I feel a little happier and hopeful.
Yeah. And you go about this with, spiritually, gratitude. Gratitude was always one that I think it was hard for Kelly. It was easier. It was easier for me for the gratitude side of things. What is something you're grateful for? About your partner. Sexually wasn't a easy one.
Yeah, sexually was.
Let's skip that one.
But it's good to just that you're checking in with all of those different emotions and parts of your body that help you take care of yourself. Like we said, we really were focused on taking care of ourselves. So expressing, like, physically, I had a headache today. I was anxious, but I did meditation and prayer today, and that helped me get through that. Sexually, like, I'm feeling really disconnected from you right now. So I'm not really feeling anything like that. And gratitude, I'm really grateful for you today because I was grateful when you sent me that picture, or you FaceTime me when you got to your work meeting. That meant a lot to me.
Yeah, so we invite you to go check out the digital download, because this is something that we did nightly, no matter what, during our therapy sessions and our healing. So go check out the digital download on our website, the Oh.Henrys.com, and take a look at it. We appreciate you coming and joining our podcast today, episode 3. We'll have another one next week.
And we'll link all of our socials, and well, they're all linked on our website, but we'll link the website as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And please leave a comment on our YouTube or on our podcast if you're listening. Please throw in some questions, some Q&As. We're going to get into that in some of our future episodes. So stay tuned. We love you all. Thank you for joining us in this journey.
And there's always hope in healing your marriage.
That's right. Love you all. Thank you.